Indiana Jones, It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. The Indiana Jones Minute.
Good grief. Mommy, why do I hate Christmas?
See, this is my episode because I legitimately do dislike Christmas. I never feel the way I'm supposed to feel about it.
This is Well,
that was my first question I was going to ask everybody. Why, if are you the Charlie Brown or are you the Linus?
Oh,
because this thing basically,
100% the Charlie.
I know. It's kind of a moot question. But yeah, we're talking about the Charlie Brown Christmas special from what, 1965?
65, I think. Yeah.
Gosh, this thing's older than I am.
How old were you in 65, Tom?
I was not.
Me neither.
I was
not
negative like 6, 7, 6. Yeah.
I wasn't quite
Weird.
that much negative, but you were not.
So our
negative
entire
6.
lives. Our entire lives, we've known this as part of Christmas.
Yes.
This
Charlie
Brown
This is
special.
one of those things that seems to transcend, I guess, I don't know, but generational vicissitudes.
You know why?
Sure.
You know why I think maybe the biggest reason it does? I think Vince Guaraldi.
I knew you were gonna.
Oh yeah.
I think
Vince
this might be
Guaraldi.
the best music ever composed for any kind of a holiday special, and
Yeah.
his music for this is just spectacular.
I agree.
I remember, I don't know when, this was probably like 20 years ago now or something, and I was standing in line at Starbucks, and it was right when they had just started selling CDs, like at the, kind of impulse buy thing as you're at the counter. And this was on there like around Christmas time. This was on the rack, the CD. And it really pissed me off. I was like, oh, come on. Now I've had that record, that album for, my entire life. And now some punk, oh yeah, Charlie Brown, man, Vince Guaraldi. Oh, check this out, man. Yeah.
Well, you know what it is? It literally
I have the wrong attitude.
The the impulse buy.
Yeah.
And when I
yeah.
worked
Right.
at the music store at Borders, this would come out, and it was it would sell. It was this and the Mariah Carey Christmas that
Oh,
were
wow.
just like
Yeah.
it sucks. It would I'm talking like it would sell more than the Beatles the entire year.
Yeah.
Like the more than
Wow.
what these would be the number one sellers for the entire store for the entire year.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's funny.
makes
The
sense.
story of the music to it is interesting too, because Vince Guaraldi wasn't super well known, but then he came out with kind of a breakout hit, which I'm sure most of you would all know if you heard it, "Cast Your Feet to the Wind."
Yeah.
And there was a guy, Lee Mendelson, a TV producer, that was about to make a documentary about Charles Schultz. And he was driving across the Golden Gate Bridge and heard that song on the radio. And it's like, I got to call this guy. So he called Vince Guaraldi and asked him to write music for the documentary.
No way.
Really?
And yeah, and Vince Guaraldi was so excited. He called him back and played it. And it was like, okay, I got to play you this. And the producer was like, no, I don't want to hear bad quality over the phone. And Vince Guaraldi's like, I have to get it out. I got to play it right now.
Wow.
And he played the Linus and Lucy theme.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very
And,
good.
they never ended up making the documentary, but that became the
Now, is
that's
Cast
cool.
Your Fate to the Wind from Black Orpheus?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
This might be the nerdiest I have ever heard you people. That was
Really. You know what's rough?
That's
It's
saying a lot.
jazz nerdy.
Oh my
Well,
god.
is that Black Orpheus? Wait, is that track 7 or track 2?
No.
I
Now,
always forget.
I'm gonna say, and this is, I'll die on this hill, especially with Vince Guaraldi. And Chriser, you and I were arguing about this earlier.
As we do.
This is, I think, defies genre. It's like,
Yeah, I
there's
agree.
a piano, so it's jazz, and you're like, that's ridiculous. Is is Ben Folds 5 jazz because there's a piano, or Rachmaninoff jazz because there's a piano? You're like, this is just a song.
It's just a bunch of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Well, you have to categorize it so it's jazz.
I'm with you, Jer.
Yeah, it's just, especially like Cast Your Fate to the Wind has that middle section that swung. You're like, but the intro and the outro, like that's just, why would that be jazz?
I don't know that one. So can you guys hum a few bars?
You know it.
I'll look it up later.
That's not working.
Kids in your rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But I wonder if this is like a cool, weird, like you're a kid and you're sitting down at the table. Oh, there's Charlie Brown from the comic strip. He's going to be in a thing, a cartoon, and then you're hearing like this light. I'm going to call it jazz. It's light jazz, and you hear that, and these kids are ice skating and stuff. Like, are you like, wait, there should be like Powerhouse by Carl Stalling or something. There should be like this very boing boing cartoon music, and instead it's like this very cool thing that you can listen to all day.
Pete, I'm looking at you. We all know it's not light jazz. That was not really.
Yeah, I was
it's
bristling.
West Coast jazz.
West Coast jazz?
Light jazz is a very bad word for a lot of people.
Is that
sure it is.
Jazz with avocado? Is that what that is?
It's like a jazz tapas.
Is that the Trekkie to the proper Trekker?
Yeah.
By the way, I like Trekkie.
It is a school of jazz.
Well, so
that was cool and relaxed.
Now, why
yacht rock jazz
does everybody love this Charlie Brown's? By the way, we all call it Charlie Brown's, but is it actually Peanuts?
Well, the show is called A Charlie Brown Christmas.
It's a Charlie Brown Christmas.
Okay.
I mean, you might as well have just said Our Gang. Come on.
What's
Almost
Peanuts?
nobody calls it Peanuts, though. It's
what is
like Snoopy
Peanuts?
or it's Charlie Brown.
Peanuts is a whole group.
Yeah, Peanuts is the comic strip.
You said penis.
Penis is a group.
It's going to be like that, eh?
Merry Christmas. I guess it's sort of like if Happy Days had been a comic strip and then they made a special of it, they would call it a Fonzie Christmas or something. You take your breakout star.
Wasn't Happy Days a comic strip? It was Archie.
Kind of.
Wasn't it?
Was the name Peanuts ever explained? Like, is it ever?
Yeah, it's little kids.
Like,
I feel like he called it like little whippersnappers or something.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
You're gonna
he had some other name that was just kind of like little, crap asses or something. Then like the publisher was like, nah, something funny and cute like Peanuts.
But I mean, like in the comic strips itself, it's never like, let's call ourselves the Peanuts.
No.
Right. No. It's like Watchmen. They don't actually say it ever. It's like a thing.
Yeah. Like I don't ever remember that because I read like all of them as a kid, and I don't ever.
Oh
remember
yeah.
seeing
Well,
the name
speaking
Peanuts.
as a peanut, Linus, you should know that won't fly.
We used to order them from Scholastic. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah.
We had the
I
whole
would read
collection.
those. I would read like those collections. I still have some of the old ones, like the You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and stuff. Like just those collections of the strips, and they're really good.
Yeah, they were great.
They are good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're on this, Stresser, because this was some of the first books that I actually, I guess, quote, read. It's like I'd go into your room when you weren't there.
Thanks.
And I'd be like,
Now you know.
okay, there's like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. There's, and it's like, oh, look at this. This can't. I know it's a book, and that sucks because reading sucks, but it's Snoopy. So it's probably
So it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. What were the other ones?
I think she had the DSM-5.
That's not a Peanuts book. Not one. No.
Are you sure? It's like Happiness is a Warm Puppy or something.
That's a good one.
Actually,
yeah. Definitely.
Did
Happiness.
Charles Schultz have? You might know this, Christy. Did he have any kind of a background in psychology?
I do
Because there's
not
a
know
lot
that.
of psychological stuff that shows up in.
Oh, sure.
these things.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's. I have some notes on that. What next, Charlie Brown? For the love of peanuts, you're so smart, Snoopy. You're my hero, Charlie Brown. This is like a whole bunch of them. Hey, Peanuts. I don't remember that one. Try it again, Charlie
remember that.
Brown.
I remember that.
Very funny,
Beaker,
Charlie
Beaker.
Brown. Yeah, wow.
Beaker, Charlie Brown.
Beaker.
Did you guys ever
Charlie
have
Brown.
the Snoopy doll with the Snoopy stuffed animal where you could buy him the little outfits?
Oh
That-
yeah, my sister had
I
that.
was going to say that sounds
Yeah.
like a Beanie Taylor thing.
Yeah, she did. She had like the sailor suit and the rain slicker and the cop thing and the Indian and the oh wait no, that's Village People. I'm
The
sorry.
best was the
The
World War
SMN.
One flying ace. Yeah, the
Oh,
S&M
yeah.
flying ace thing with the leather
Yeah.
jacket and the
All
goggles.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He never dressed up like Charlie Brown, though. He never really put on the shirt. That would have been cute.
No.
That's funny. Yeah, he didn't. That totally happened today if they made it today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It'd be
Oh, well.
ironic or something. Self-aware.
Speaking of self-aware and lacking self-aware, this movie begins with a bunch of kids skating unsupervised on what may not be very secure ice. Like it just
Mhm.
right from the beginning, this show makes me anxious. Like I feel like these kids are not being supervised at all, and like they have some serious hygiene issues. And if you look at
Yeah.
Charlie's eyes, he's got all these bags under his eyes that
Yeah.
would seem to indicate some kind of neglect.
He's got the weight of the world.
They
Yeah.
never change their clothes. They do put
No,
on
they never change
jackets.
their clothes.
They put on jackets and they've got shoes. But
That's
about
true.
it.
But one of the kids is bullied just to the point of it. Like it's scary how much he's bullied.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Charlie
They're-
Brown.
Yeah, and nobody ever
Yeah.
intervenes. Like there's
No,
never
they
any
don't care
adult
at all.
intervention.
Oh, you
No,
really
they
caught
Although,
on
I mean,
fast,
we
did
can-
you?
We don't have to totally get into this right now this early, but there's something about the fact that like it's the whole cast of characters, like everybody sort of got, this is the first time it hit me of watching it this time. Everybody sort of has their own weird thing that they do kind of like out in the open. Like Lucy's got
Mhm.
a psychiatry booth and Schroeder's got a tiny piano and Linus is, a grown man basically with a blanket, but he's 5 or whatever. And everybody's like a weirdo, but they don't care. They don't care that they're weirdos.
They only
just
care
have
that
their
Charlie's
thing.
weird, but
Well,
Charlie is
okay.
mocked incessantly for being weird.
But he lets that get him down. Everybody else is sort of like, like Lucy will yell at Linus for having a blanket and he'll turn it into a hat. And he's like, whatever. Now,
That's true.
It's like nobody else seems to let everybody else's derision get them down. But Charlie Brown immediately does. And he is the only one who's like universally scorned, which doesn't help.
Well,
His problem is that he's vulnerable.
The elephant in the room is Charlie Brown sucks.
No, wait a minute.
No, he's kind of. I mean, he. If you watch him in this, granted that bit with the tree is kind of cool, but when he takes over as the director, you're like, this guy's not like he's like me. I finally get a chance, and then he shows up and he's like pedantic and he's going over all this stuff and he's
Well,
yelling
that's-
at
yeah.
everybody.
Trying
And
to
you're
put
like,
on a good
That's
play.
the thing. He's bullied, but whenever he gets a chance, he takes it out on the kid that he thinks is lower than him.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like
We
he'll
should
get
get-
a couple
let's-
times.
let's-
When,
let's,
yeah, let's get into it.
Let's
We'll get
let's,
into it.
step this out, as they say.
So we begin with Charlie and Linus are walking through town, and they stop and have a conversation, leaning on a low wall.
right.
And Charlie says he's never felt the way he's supposed to for the holidays, and he says he's depressed.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
And-
first of all, I think many people would identify with that. I'm glad we
Oh,
have
sure.
you here, Pete. But the
yeah,
I mean, the holidays are there's this bizarre tension or push and pull of how you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's what Charlie Brown is reacting to. You're supposed to be joyous, and what happens is, of course, like suicides are on the rise, and all sorts of terrible stuff that happens. Arguments and family dissension, and there's all sorts of difficult things. And so, are we forcing this as a society or a culture? Are we creating this problem?
yes.
I don't. Well, I'm sort of a Charlie Brown and a Linus. Like I fully get the any holiday is like Halloween is not like billed as a time of universal joy and brotherly love and stuff, but it's a time where you're supposed to have a ton of fun. And if you end up not having a ton of fun on Halloween night or day, that's like it's a problem. Like you missed it. Like you didn't. There's a way a kind of fun you're supposed to have on a specific day. And if you miss that, that's it for the year. So like on Christmas, like if you're not, I don't know, with family, you're not having a good time, you're not drinking eggnog, you're not opening presents, whatever. That's, there's a moment where that has to happen. And if it doesn't happen, you're screwed.
But the expectations that have been set up for Christmas are ridiculous. Like it's the most special, it's the most magical day of the year.
Yeah.
And if it is not your most magical, special day of the year, and you don't have people that care about you surrounding you, I mean, you're effed. Like you just.
Yeah, it's true. That's hard for a lot of people.
What I think is fascinating about the Charlie Brown special is it begins. Well, it's really bookended with Charlie Brown and Linus, right? And so it begins with him saying, "I don't understand." Charlie saying, "I don't understand Christmas, and I'm depressed." And Linus, like, kind of, it is.
Show. It's a little kid's cartoon for Christmas, and it starts with the kid being depressed and not understanding Christmas. That's awesome.
But is that a? I'm sorry to interrupt, Jerry, but I just have to ask Christy: is that a appropriate response psychologically if somebody confesses that they're going through some mental health issues, to belittle them and say, "You're the only person I know who could take this holiday and turn it into a problem"?
Yeah, just get it together, Charlie Brown.
No, that's not good. I've never thought that was a very Linus-y line. He's actually a friend of him. He does support him. He defends him on occasion. Tries hard to listen, and he's like, you're being a jerk. And he doesn't
Linus
even.
is cold and cruel right here.
Yeah,
right there he is.
Look, the thing that no one wants to say, the thing that no one wants to say is, with the exception of Snoopy, everybody in Peanuts is just a dick. Now they might
Snoopy can be a dick too.
No, Snoopy can be a dick too, but for some reason he's being a dog.
Yeah, it's okay.
I give him a pass.
I agree.
But
in this, he's sort of the Bugs Bunny jerk.
I'm not saying that they're that way all the time.
He's treated very poorly as a dog, so he deserves to be a dick.
Well, what's nice about Snoopy is he's self-empowering.
Yes, that's true.
That's kind of what I mean about everybody. Everybody sort of is like nobody cares what weird, dementia they have or whatever weird, Pigpen's disgusting, but he doesn't care. He's kind of proud of it. Like everybody on the show is kind of, making their own kind of fine reality that they dig, and they don't care about other people.
I specifically about this episode, whereas Charlie says, I'm depressed, and Linus, of course, kind of spits at him. Lucy is right. Of all the Charlie Browns in the world, you're the Charliest browniest of all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he pees on his leg and walks away.
I don't know. I couldn't figure out how Lucy had the opportunity to rank all the Charlie Browns in the world. Based on what sort of assessment.
That's a really good line.
Well, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
And
we know what she means. And we know why Linus repeats it. Linus repeats it because he's like, "That was a pretty good line, Lucy."
She nailed
But
it.
here's what's crazy. At the very end, Charlie Brown posits the same either question, or he's still feeling like the meaning of Christmas eludes him. And Linus then goes and he just goes, "Oh, well, here's what's up." And he gives this big, long, eloquent monologue, and you're like, dude, why didn't you just say that on the bridge?
I had that note too. No. I did.
Yeah. Why? I mean, you're a good
could have
friend.
avoided the whole nonsense.
The whole thing.
I wondered that. When we get there, I think I might have the same answer.
I think that's explained.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Okay. All right. Is it? Well, let me ask right quick. The difference is, he wanted all the accolades from his peers.
No,
Linus
the difference
did.
is that Lucy said you have to memorize all of these lines, and then he memorized the lines.
Oh my!
I think those are his lines from the play.
Wow.
He wound up going to Liberty. He goes to Liberty University.
He totally
he regurgitates the Bible.
But he had good motivation. Like Lucy, it's like straight out of Sanford and Son. Like
what?
He says, "Give me one reason why I should memorize these lines that fast." She says, "I'll give you a 5," and she makes a fist.
There it is.
Well, I never put together that those were actually his lines. He knew those. He actually walked into the episode knowing those lines. I'm
So
pretty
See, I don't
sure.
why
think he
didn't he
did.
bring it?
Maybe
Why
he
didn't
did.
he bring it up at the bridge when his good
I
friend
don't know why
asked
he
him
didn't,
in
'cause he
confidence?
I don't
don't
think it
know.
would have done anything at the bridge. And I'm not sure it does anything when he does do it, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, this is the first special. Like there hadn't been a Charlie Brown special before this, so it's kind of amazing how out there this is right at the
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's so out there. It's like, well, we
Yeah.
don't know what these things look like. Let's just do this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Sure.
60s. Everything's like, well, let's see where this goes. Let's get a little weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, the kids are all ice skating on the lake, and somehow Charlie Brown's dog is ice skating in
Yeah.
an unsupervised thing, which is
Mhm.
concerning. But at one point, Snoopy takes Linus's blanket and uses it like as a slingshot and
Yeah.
whips both Charlie and Linus around. And Charlie's flung into a tree that makes a disgusting sound and drops snow on Charlie, and that's where we get our title card, A Charlie Brown Christmas.
Do it,
Yeah.
Tommy.
You know
Do it.
what?
What's that noise?
You know what happens right before that though? When Snoopy is skating around, he actually does something completely different with every single character. So he grabs Lucy, who grabs
Mhm.
Violet, and they all do a crack the whip, and they grab
Yeah.
Schroeder, and then they do this all fun thing. So Snoopy's
Mm.
having lots of fun with those guys first, and then he does the
Mm.
blanket thing, and he completely, injures the other two.
So
I
is he
couldn't quit.
just having so much fun with Crack the Whip, he decides to crack the whip with just Linus and Charlie?
Oh, maybe.
But he gives him a concussion. Come
Learned all the
on.
wrong lessons.
That noise. Boosh.
And then it goes,
I don't know what that is. Like a
like a
clown.
raspberry.
It's like a clown timpani.
Yeah, what do you?
It's like a clown timpani with like change all over it or something.
I want to know, when Pigpen ice skates, is it just slush?
Yeah.
I'm
Or he
looking
seems
at
like
him,
a
and he's
trail.
like, a little later on, he's building this like dirt man. It's like supposed to be a snowman. It's just, like he just perpetually lives in Cleveland.
Oh, I was just thinking. Yeah, he does. So here's a question. Why was that okay? Why was that in any world in 1965? Why was it okay to have a character like Pigpen and make fun of a guy who is covered in dirt?
Because some kids are just gross. So just there are kids in the world who are just they're not impoverished, they're not like malnourished or anything, they're just gross. They come from clean homes and they're gross. There's always that kid, and that's Pigpen.
He's beyond gross though. I feel like today, like, mandated reporter laws would require that you report his parents for neglect.
Why, you sound like someone in education.
But I feel like Pigpen's parents would be like, we bathe him every night. This is what happens. He's just like this. There's nothing we can do. We love our son. We take good care of him.
I don't think you would ever get a kid like straight up dirty in a current comic strip or
yeah, maybe not
cartoon. I think they for some reason it was okay in 1965 to do that, but it's not.
Everything was okay in 1965.
Yeah, everything was okay.
Well, so is this part of Pigpen's phenotype?
Oh,
does he just, like, is it just sort of his genes manifest this way?
Well, does he
dust gland?
Yeah, dust gland, exactly. Or does the dirt just attracted to him somehow, or does he generate his own? I guess that's your question.
Or does he control dirt? He generates dirt. He's a master
like a
over
superhero.
Dirt.
Yeah. Or which is it, Pete? What's
to
it
me,
with
my
your
dirt.
name? Your name matches your.
Oh yeah, nominative determinism. Normative.
Yeah.
Is it
so maybe he was birthed and they called him Pigpen.
Oh, little Pigpen. What have we done?
And he just grew into it.
Yeah.
Did you guys learn to skate when you were little?
Nope.
I did when I was a kid, and then I a long enough time went before I did it again that I
Grew
just
out
lost
of it.
Like I couldn't do it again. Yeah.
Jared, do you think you could skate if we put straps and some skates on you?
Absolutely, and that ice skating is where I learned about Eddie Money.
Oh, good.
Oh,
2
okay.
tickets to
Congratulations.
paradise. You know what I'm talking about, Christopher. We used to go
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
Thornton ice rink,
Mm-hmm.
and we would ice skate. What was I, 7, 8?
All skate.
And
All
you
skate.
put the wow, that's right. All skate was, and then remember they put like a ballad on, and it was couples skate.
Yeah, that was
Oh.
more like the Cleveland Heights Pavilion, though. That was like an old-timey one where they had an actual
Yeah.
organ with an actual organist.
Mm.
And so they
Yeah.
weren't playing any Eddie Money at the pavilion.
Met the Eddie. You know, the I remember, of course, you know what I'm talking about. The hockey players would, of
Mm-hmm.
course, you know, whip around on the ice, like much like Snoopy
A lot like Snoopy.
does here. Yeah, and then they'd snow plow into you, right? They
Sure.
kind of where they stop and like an avalanche of ice shards sort of
Mhm.
sculpt over you as, right as like a girl that you have a crush on walks by, and you basically look like a snowman.
Well, is
Oh, I learned
Snoopy?
about this. You can't. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm just wondering, is Snoopy a hockey player or is he a figure skater? Because he looks like a figure skater out on the pond,
Mhm.
not the hockey guy.
I feel like Snooky would be both.
Okay.
Yeah,
Actually,
whatever
he
the
probably
situation
is.
called
I can
for.
kind of picture him in a hockey outfit.
Yeah,
I think
me
we've
too.
seen him in hockey gear.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
I also learned that you can't do those hockey stops with rented skates because the blades aren't sharp enough.
Oh,
Right.
really?
Good to
That is
know.
right.
So
Good
like
tip.
Break your
you're gonna
ankle
look like
instead.
a chump no matter what when you show up in rent skates.
I went ice skating not that long ago, and I was still able to do it.
Hmm.
So
Good for you.
have any of you guys ever gone ice skating actually outside, like on a lake?
Oh, sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Or a pond.
I've done it
yeah.
outside, but never on a lake. That's madness.
No, I went to school in Maine, so that was a thing.
It used to
Wow.
get cold enough that the water would become hard. It'd become like a hard surface on top of the rest of the water.
How do you
and
know
could
though?
stand
How
on
do you
it.
know when you're not gonna plunge into frigid waters and die?
You just hope for the best, like
Yeah.
these kids are doing.
Hope
You
for
just
the
you just
best.
You think, what's the worst that can happen? And then you know
Mhm.
exactly what the worst that can happen is. And you're like, all right, I'll
I'll
roll
send
the
my
dice.
dog out first, and then if he's okay.
Yeah.
you hum to yourself some Vince Guaraldi.
Yeah.
Works.
Hey, does anybody still send Christmas cards? Charlie Brown looks for a Christmas card, and of course he doesn't get any. And it made me
I'm
wonder if
still
the
waiting
Christmas
to
card
send my
is-
first set, so someday I'm going to send my first set of Christmas
Oh,
cards.
okay. Wow, really?
Tom,
I'm a little
Wow.
surprised by that.
I have a friend, Tom, who sends incredible Christmas Mad Libs.
Yeah, I love Tom's.
Yeah.
I love Tom's and I
Been
love
a while.
Janet's. I love Janet's Christmas cards too.
Oh, Janet sends nice
I've never
ones.
gotten one of those.
Oh, yeah, I'll put her on
So
the
Sorry.
do
on the
you
list.
think that
I'll do
there's is there, like, if you send Christmas cards, then are you a certain type of person?
Yep.
Like, well, I was gonna say, so say you had to come up with like you're tracking a serial killer, and you're like, well, he sent
Right.
Christmas cards, so
Yeah.
we know that.
But it
he
wasn't like a
also-
personal picture or anything. It was like
Yeah,
just
he-
like a painting of, Courier and Ives or something on a card.
Yeah, you're like every
he
year
just signs
he
it
sends
best wishes or something.
he sends
But
a
it's-
Christmas card. You know, he parks his car in the garage.
What about the ones that send like a form letter and then they sign it at the
Oh.
bottom, like this is everything our family has done in the past year?
Yeah.
But
I sent one of those once, but it was just a summary of all like the TV shows I've been watching that year. So it was just like a dumb bachelor.
Where would the FBI rank those of us who receive Christmas cards but do not grant them?
I love all Christmas cards. I do. Send me Christmas
like
cards.
getting
No,
them.
I love getting them, but I've
Yeah.
never sent them.
You never.
I like
sent them.
making fun of the really cheesy ones too. Sorry, everybody who sent me a cheesy Christmas card, but you're gonna get made fun of.
Well, we can't all be like crossword guru type guys like you.
Well, listen, you set a certain standard.
Wait, you actually no, you told me you cheated on that. There was some like Microsoft program or something where you did.
Oh,
I
don't
didn't like
ruin it,
lay out
Jer.
my own crossword puzzle.
Yeah,
with,
Don't
like, math and
ruin it.
stuff.
I
No.
want it.
Yeah,
I
you
want
use, like,
Tommy
some-
to like work all summer on it. Send
That
it
is
to
where
me.
it goes here. No, wait, that's an S. I can't. That's not gonna fit.
But yeah, so Charlie looks into his mailbox and there's no Christmas card. By the way, right before that, there's a gorgeous shot of Charlie just standing there looking out of a window at snow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's lovely. But then he goes to his mailbox. Oh, go ahead, Jer.
What the snow? throughout the whole episode is one of the most beautiful things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they do. It looks like the snow. It's like they cartoon-wise drew it over the cartoon. I don't like the snow.
I think they call
looks
that animation
three-dimensional.
chair. Pretty
Yeah.
sure.
The guy
Actually, in
hunched
this
over a
case, they
table.
call it artistic blandishment. But yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
See,
Yeah,
look at
oh,
you.
you're
There's
right.
and they had
Wow.
about 12 blandishers, didn't they?
Yes.
Blandishers.
But yeah, then Charlie looks in the mailbox and there's no card, and he says, "Why does there have to be a holiday season to emphasize the fact that nobody likes me?"
Okay,
Gosh,
now
that's
hold
hard.
up. Are you gonna want to hang out with that guy?
Yeah.
No, because immediately after this, he goes up to, is it Violet? He goes up and he
Yeah.
sarcastically says, "Thanks for the Christmas card." And she's like, "I didn't send one." And like he starts insulting her and Pigpen. It's
Yep.
like he becomes as mean and as vindictive as they are.
Yeah. She's. I
I
mean,
mean,
There's something
Violet's
to
not
that, yeah.
cool, but you're kind of like Charlie Brown's going around and he's looking for trouble.
If Violet
Is he a
is
martyr?
cool, it's because she doesn't care. I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
going back to that. She's just like standing there reading a Christmas card. She's not looking for trouble. Yes, she is a jerk. She and Lucy and that other one, they gang up on people and they they're the mean
Frida.
girls.
Frida.
But yeah, Frida, thank you.
Naturally curly hair.
But yeah, she's just kind of. But maybe she should get yelled at for not sending Charlie Brown a Christmas card. I guarantee she sent everybody else one. And everybody else did too. Like there is something
Yeah.
weird. There's a weird, almost like measurable phenomena of how people treat Charlie Brown.
That's true.
Mhm.
And how
It's
weird
true.
it is and how things go wrong
Yeah.
for him and stuff.
Maybe
Yeah.
he's the
But I
Charlie
don't think it's his
Browniest.
fault, and I don't think he deserves it. I
Maybe
think
he's
a
the
good
Charlie
guy.
Browniest because he's
He
the one
is.
that they treat the worst. Maybe
He's
there
the Kwisatz
are other
Haderach.
Charlie Browns out there, and they only treat them like 50% as bad, which makes
Right,
him.
yeah.
So it's not that he emanates the Charlie Browniest part; it's that the treatment of him is what makes him Charlie Browniest.
Okay.
See,
Yeah.
I think you're getting into metaphysics here, Chris.
So,
I think what you're describing is Charlie is like the ancient idea of the scapegoat. Like they're casting
There you
all of
go.
their sins and all of their
Oh.
Yeah.
bad things onto Charlie,
Mm-hmm.
and that way they can avoid dealing with them themselves.
Because they
Thank
are
you,
all
Dr. Jung.
weirdos. They're all weirdos, and they all have their own weird thing. And yeah, maybe they have to be mean to Charlie Brown so that they can reinforce the idea that they're not nut jobs, or they're not
Well,
they're not worthy of derision or something.
I feel like this Charlie Brown business is like that short story, The Lottery, but in reverse. It's like 364 days a year they shit all over Charlie Brown, and then on Christmas, one day of the year they're nice to the guy.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm going to concede that last part yet, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let me ask you. It just this is a chicken or the egg. It's like, so is Charlie Brown like this because the whole town is a jerk to him, or is he just walk around and mope like this?
is he deserving of this?
Yeah, is he deserving of it?
Now,
Now,
I will
listen,
say that in this one, he mopes more in this special than I
Yeah.
think he does in most other ones.
Yeah.
He's got a better attitude in most of the other specials.
But that makes perfect sense. Why? Because it's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
That's
yeah.
right. So it's
Yeah.
a little
It's all-
amplified.
This is hard though, because I don't suffer from depression, but I do suffer from anxiety, and so it's hard because he seems to be indicating at the beginning that he's dealing with some mental health struggles, and the response that everybody gives him to that is to belittle him.
And
Yeah.
And tell
I
him it's
was
in his head.
wondering, and not because I've thought this before, but just like watching it, today for this I was wondering if there are any other characters.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Maybe these are just all the voices in his head,
That's
Oh my God.
incredible.
right?
That's incredible.
And he feels so terrible about himself that he just heaps it all on himself. And then on
That's
occasion he has
incredible.
to defend himself to the voices in his head. And I don't mean it in a psychotic way. I mean it. I mean it in a subconscious way, in his unconscious. That
Yeah.
I love it.
It's like Fight Club.
It is.
It is.
I was
It's
thinking that.
exactly.
Oh
You know what's
my
funny?
God.
I actually have that. I literally do have that. Like I have a thing where like every minor decision I make, I hear a voice in my head kind of judging me, and I have to defend. And I in my
See?
head, I defend my. I'm making coffee this way because it's the way I like it. Get off
That's
my back.
Jody telling you you're doing something wrong because
Oh,
you're
that's
acting like a
literally
bonehead.
Jody?
That's,
She's
that's
right behind- oh
literally
my God.
a voice talking to you. You're just
Oh, I
ignoring
feel
it.
horrible now. I've been ignoring her this whole time. Oh well, thanks, Pete. I gotta fix my
I also like
mirrors.
Jerry was when we were talking earlier. Jerry was comparing this to one of my favorite novels, Winesburg, Ohio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've never read that, but I've read like Dandelion Wine, which everybody compares to it, or he compared it to that.
I didn't read that one.
Well,
kind
it's,
of
Yeah,
it's like
Winesburg, Ohio.
it's like a bunch of vignettes that last
Mhm.
between like 3 seconds and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
But if you put all the vignettes together, you get a pretty complete picture of the town.
Yeah, I don't want to live there.
Mhm.
People are miserable. Also, I
Yeah.
mean, for starters, if you know, if you're a good friend and you're Linus and you stop on a bridge and your friend says, "Hey man, Christmas has got me really bummed out. I'm depressed." The first thing you should do is grab him and pull him off the bridge.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
It is weird because Linus is an incredibly intelligent guy,
Yeah.
like almost creepily so for a little kid. But he's also a little kid, so he could just be like, I mean, you're supposed to like Christmas. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's a happy time, right? I'm
Yeah.
ill-equipped to help you with this. You should go see that psychiatrist over there, my sister.
He also, Linus seems ill-equipped to deal with like interpersonal relationships. Like he seems like he's very gifted at like understanding big concepts and ideas, but I don't know if he understands human interpersonal
So
relationships.
He retreats with that blanket a lot. He'll hide under the blanket or escape with it, or
You're gonna take that back, Pete, because you're dissing Linus, and Linus is kind of perfect. So I mean, he has an off day.
I don't know if he's dissing him. He's
all right.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay,
I
don't make me arm
We
wrestle
all
you.
love Linus. Linus is the king.
Okay, good.
I just feel like he doesn't always, like, people often talk to him and what they say doesn't seem to register to him because he's thinking about something completely different.
Yeah, he'll just sort of deflect it or something.
Yeah.
Which is fine if someone's being a jerk to him, which is often the case. Like if it's his sister threatening to punch him because he has a security blanket, then it's fine for him to just walk the other way.
That is this whole show. Just every kid is a different kind of coping mechanism. Like you've got the security blanket, you've got the kid pretending to be a psychologist and diagnosing everybody's problems. You've got the martyr kid. You've
the one who's
got the kid that just
really vain.
doesn't take care of himself at all at this point and just becomes completely filthy.
Yep.
You got Frida, who's the opposite. She's like, check out my natural curly hair.
Yeah,
it's like it's all about appearances for her. That's it. That's all that matters.
That's why nobody likes her, and she's like the least memorable.
Hey! I like Frida.
Schroeder.
We have the same.
You like Frida?
Well, we have natural curly
Yeah.
hair. You gotta.
That's
speak
nice.
up.
Yeah.
All right. That doesn't mean you like her.
No.
That just means you relate to her a
True.
little bit.
Well,
What about
the
Shermie?
problem?
What about Shermie?
Shermie. I want to know Shermie better. Shermie
Yeah.
seems like he's got
Shermie's
something going on.
The zombie dance that he does.
Well, he does. And he
that's
says
I love that.
Every
He does
year, every year it's the same thing. I'm always a shepherd. I'm like, how many times have you been a shepherd? And also,
Yeah, really. What grade are you in?
what kind of a
sounds
history
exactly
of
like
depression?
Tony Curtis too. All I've ever been is a shepherd.
Exactly.
I like he does the Running Man dance.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's my
that's pretty
favorite.
awesome.
But Schroeder's another good coping mechanism. Like he just retreats into himself and becomes a real overachiever in his one passion, the one thing he can.
Well, but Schroeder's really weird. He has like a sort of a lightning temper.
He does.
He's got like an
A little bit.
explosive
Yeah.
temper. Yeah, he's fine. He's cool, and then he screams.
Yeah.
And when he screams, the person flies backwards.
Yeah, they do some flips.
They
Actually,
do some flips
sometimes
backwards.
he flies backwards.
He can fly back too. A
Yeah.
lot of these kids, they got some pipes on them, and they yell at you. You do some flips.
See, the problem with Linus is if Linus is Charlie Brown's best friend, I guess, if he can have any. Number one, Charlie Brown's taking that for granted. If Linus is his good friend, Charlie Brown doesn't see it, it doesn't register, and he certainly doesn't feel like he has any friends.
It's true.
And
But would you consider someone a friend after bearing your soul and the person just tells you what an idiot?
Well, that's the problem. There's a certain level of betrayal that Linus brings to this show, and
Yeah.
to their relationship.
Oh my
Where
gosh, I
you
can't
Yeah.
believe you're
Yeah.
saying that. That's terrible.
I do no, because we love Linus, we do, and we always want, and we know that he's Charlie Brown's friend, and he never he's on his side, but he never like knocks everybody out of the way and says, "Leave Charlie Brown alone. He's my friend. He's a good
It's
guy."
true.
He
Yeah.
never says that. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, even at the end of this damn thing, I think he takes credit for the tree. Doesn't he say
We'll
something
get
yeah,
there.
he's like, I always
stuff
thought
to
this
say
was a
about
pretty
the
nice
tree.
tree.
That's true.
No,
And look at this tree I got.
he doesn't say like Charlie Brown picked a great one. He's just like, I always thought this was a pretty
I
good
knew
tree.
all along this was a
Yeah,
good tree.
it's just like,
I just didn't want to say anything
I
because
just-
people might
I
think I
just-
like Charlie.
I
The
just
blockhead was gonna get all upset.
I just let the derision unfold.
He's the Peter to Charlie's Jesus.
Oh my word.
Yeah, there
Wow.
you go. Well, so if Linus is his friend or a friend to anybody, why does it not register for Charlie Brown? Like, who's responsible for that?
I think that if you have one friend and you do feel like the universe is still against you, you're still gonna phrase things as "nobody likes me."
And you
Like,
just
yes,
tell
Linus,
your one
like
friend.
you take your one friend for granted, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's like a gift. Like my mom loves me, and Linus loves me. You know, like,
feel
but
though- I
whatever,
feel
nobody
like-
likes me.
Linus is a little bit of a religious zealot to
That's
be
true.
completely sure. Like in every episode, it's maybe a different religion, but he's always so wrapped up in his beliefs. I think he's always more into that than he is into you.
He's a pumpkinist.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't think
But like
he's
even in
ever
this
a
one, when Charlie's
Rastafari.
like, not yet,
Not yet.
but like in this one, even when Charlie's like, oh, I wish someone would explain what this is all about. Then he quotes it, like he quotes scripture, but he doesn't really.
Thanks, Dad.
He's not really like, well, Chuck, let me help you.
Yeah, buddy, my friend. What's
Yeah.
what's got you down? I'm here for you.
And he does it in the most sort of ostentatious way. It's a presentation.
Lights,
to
please.
everybody,
Lights.
like-
Yeah, lights.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't sure who was on the lights. You know, who's he talking to?
I know, really.
No,
Sherman's
by
up
the
there.
way, that's not. I figured I watched it. Those aren't lights. What that is an aura.
No.
Yes,
No, it's a
if you
spotlight.
He's
look
asking like
at
Gabriel
when
to
he's-
intensify his aura.
Yes.
No, it's a spotlight.
When you look at it, there's no beam that's coming down.
Oh.
Much like Pigpen emanates
Oh.
dirt, in that
Wow.
moment, Linus emanates light.
I think if you recite part of the Christmas story on a stage around Christmas time, that just happens. You get all glowy.
See, now I think
We've all
Linus is
seen
in
it.
a scene, Jer. Like whether they were the sons of light and against the sons
Oh,
of darkness.
he's in a scene.
So then we get we kind of move on to your speciality, Christy. I'm jumping over the snowflake part.
Oh yeah,
we
the
Oh.
get, we get
snowflake.
Lucy saying very sort of dramatically that people are trying to catch snowflakes in their mouth, and she says she would never eat a snowflake in December. She
Yeah.
always waits till January.
Okay,
She's a
so
snob.
hang on. You're reading that, Tommy, and you're 10 years old.
Mhm.
Is that funny?
You know what's that's a good point about like most, maybe not most, but a lot of Peanuts humor
Mm-hmm.
is obviously for grown-ups.
Yeah.
And it's about like kids saying grown-up things and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in a way, like as a kid, you're watching, you hear your parents laugh behind you while you're sitting on the floor watching TV, so you laugh, but no, it's not actually funny. You're not like, wait a
No.
minute.
Or
She's got
are
a
you,
point.
I mean,
That-
does it resonate because you're like, I too know-it-alls. And
Oh,
this
maybe,
is
yeah.
like, this is why
She sounds
Yeah.
like my big sister or something.
Yeah, this is like she's like everybody else is having a good time trying to catch snowflakes, and this person is saying, "I would never eat a snowflake in December." All you
Right.
fools!
I could be having fun right now, but I want to have one up on you.
Yes, and you're like,
Huh.
so is that the part that's funny and that you connect with? You're like, I know somebody like Lucy.
See, I think
Mhm.
it's a little bit of both, Jerry. But like the former thing you said, like one thing I noticed is growing up, I read a lot of like old Mad Magazine or this. And so like everything I thought funny, like I learned that was funny was talking about like hi-fi sets or, everyone's like in the smart set and like sitting in a, drinking a cocktail. And it's,
They do use the smart
Wow.
set. in
yes,
those-
what do you think
in
of
those
Norman
Peanuts.
Mailer? Yeah. But everything's very like space age 60s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hysterical.
But then even Linus here it's a very 60s, 50s, 60s thing when he uses his blanket to catch a snowflake,
Mm-hmm.
and Lucy says, "What are you going to do when you grow up? Are you still going to have that stupid blanket?" And he says, "Maybe I'll make it into a sport coat when I grow up."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But see, that's what I mean. He's like, well, I don't know why you're talking to me. I'll make it into a sport coat. Who cares? It's my blanket. Leave me alone. It's not even leave me alone. It's just like, okay, keep talking. It's fine. It doesn't get to me. I like my blanket. I know who I am.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
it
like
was.
it.
I
He's so
thought it was one
comfortable
of those
having it. He doesn't
things
care
where
who
the,
thinks
Yeah.
you
of
know,
it. He's
it's
gonna-
only funny because you don't expect people to say that. Like you don't expect Lucy to say something about the snowflakes because that, what a ridiculous thing to say. But what I never understood about that is that nothing ripens in January. So I never liked that line. It's also in one of their books. I was kind of like, well, that just doesn't make any sense at all.
Gross.
So
Yeah.
Where
That's
where
weird.
are they? What town has houses that match
was
your shirts?
I was wondering that too. I think it's Chicago.
Where was he from?
He
Was
was
he a
from Santa Rosa, California. He
Yeah.
was from
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
the Bay Area.
So wait a minute. Is it actually Chicago or just Illinois?
Well, I think it's from
Doesn't look
suburban
like
Chicago, and I know that because that's what the houses in my head look like when I'm thinking about suburban Chicago and their
All
their
right.
wire fences
Yeah.
and
I'm looking out the window.
yeah, there's snow and there's enough light in the sky, kind of like Cleveland, because the ceiling is
Yeah.
really low,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Huh.
but it's
And
not
everybody's like a bum out.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's 1965. What are you gonna do?
It looks like he was born and spent some of his childhood in Minnesota.
Oh, okay, that would do it.
That would
Yeah.
make sense.
I would also
Yeah.
accept Minnesota.
I find the whole psychiatry booth thing, it's such a common, you're so used to seeing it. It's, oh yeah, Lucy behind the thing is like such a common image now.
Hmm.
But like, this scene is really weird to me because like she's already been a jerk to Charlie Brown up to this point, but then she gets behind the booth and he pays her a nickel, and she seems sincerely trying to help him. Like she's giving him advice and she's talking to him, trying to find out what's wrong. And then she offers him the job. I don't know why it's her responsibility to find the director for the play, but she gives him the chance to direct the play in such a way that even though I've seen this thing 1,000 times, I'm like, oh, at the end at some point she'd be like, oh yeah, I wanted to sabotage the play and I knew Charlie Brown would screw it up or something. But it's all like a kind of sincere thing.
Yeah.
Like there's no,
Right.
she's still a jerk after this, but she's not always a jerk to Charlie
Yeah.
Brown. And there's a part of her that's really trying to be nice to him and
Yeah,
help
there
him
is part
out.
of it that's nice to
No,
him.
but
Yeah.
it's all because I guess it became, their relationship became monetized.
Right.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
got
Yes.
to pay
clinky
Yeah,
first.
and they make that crystal clear. I mean, it feels a hell of a lot like me paying Aetna. I put the 5
Right.
cents in, and they sit on the phone. Listen to the sound of the nickel, nickel, nickel. That's all she cares about for about a minute.
Yeah.
And then, interestingly enough, her advice is fantastic. She says, "You know what you need? You need involvement." And
Mhm.
you're like,
Yeah, I
okay,
like
he's
that. That's
he's depressed. He can't get out of it himself. And she's
Mhm.
like, well, you need involvement.
well, before that, she says something that I love because it's incredibly Buddhist. She says we should pinpoint your fears, and then we can label it.
Yeah.
And that's like a very Buddhist idea that when you label a thought, then you can let it go.
Which of these fears do we all have?
Pantophobia.
Responsibility.
Pantophobia,
Definitely.
yeah.
Pantophobia.
Well, I don't know.
obviously.
Now,
Yeah.
now that Jer introduced that part about the Linus on the bridge, I mean, he very clearly should have the one about fear on a bridge.
Crossing bridges. Yeah.
Well, she mentions responsibility, fear of cats, fear of staircases, fear of the ocean,
She said, I
fear
think,
of crossing bridges,
which
and
you-
fear of
the
everything.
fear of crossing bridges is
Yeah.
he's already conquered that one, I guess, right?
Yeah. But he didn't like it. Didn't work
But
out for him.
what's interesting is she says, what is it? Pantophobia, fear of everything. And he screams at her, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then
But-
that wasn't it. in the
No.
beginning.
No.
So again, this dude wants people to like him. I guess, is he just telling her to stop with all this nonsense. Either give me my nickel back or give me something that's actually, worthwhile.
I don't know. That seems pretty from the heart. It sounds like
Yeah.
that he thinks that she nailed it in that moment when she
Fear of
made
everything.
Pantophobia.
Did she fly back when I don't remember. Did
Yeah,
she fly
she
back?
flies
Yeah,
back.
she does. She does.
That looks
That's it.
exactly like that's exactly like my shrink.
Well, is this what would be in 1965, Christy? What would have been common treatment for depression? Do you know?
Oh my goodness.
Shock therapy.
Putting on a pageant.
Wow.
Yeah,
Putting on a
Yeah,
pageant.
putting on a Christmas
In
pageant.
1965, well, they didn't have great drugs, and she doesn't offer him drugs, which is probably a good thing. They had terrible drugs.
This was 65. If it had been like 60, 68, 69, she would have.
Yeah. You need grass, Charlie Brown.
Imagine that music. Maybe everybody, all of a sudden, everybody would have loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
My
I don't
dog's
know.
talking to me.
Well, yeah, psychedelics weren't illegal yet, so.
Oh, so he could have been like a whole Timothy Leary
No,
situation.
Oh,
the
neat.
whole nine. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her little mod outfit too.
Yeah,
it's
that is
a good
cool.
beanie. It's a real good beanie.
Yeah.
Well, so she turns the sign around. It says the psychiatrist is out, and then it says the psychiatrist, and it says is clearly in.
I thought it said real is.
No, it's
Oh,
real.
real.
Yeah.
In.
Real
So
in.
what is
Yeah.
that?
That's
Real
65.
That's like 65. Like,
Groovy.
hey, she's real in, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very groovy.
Yeah, you have to say it like that to get it.
I was wondering if
Well,
she had been
it-
stiff before. The reason she made him pay in advance
Oh.
is because, I don't know, she was trying to treat Violet, and Violet's like, I'm not paying you. That was terrible, terrible advice.
Your problem is you should never wear purple. And that's apparently free advice because you never paid me.
That's right.
See, I think her problem. I think her issue is rampant consumerism is consuming her, because she said, like she says, she understands Charlie's depression because she only gets stupid things like toys, bicycles, and clothes for Christmas, when
Right.
what she really wants is real estate.
This is
Just like
this
Lex
is.
Luthor.
She's kind of a self-starter.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was the beginning of
Land.
privilege, as represented by children's cartoons,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because she feels
Yeah.
like she deserves something else.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
now
true.
right
And
now,
Sally will literally say that later. Like, I just
Yeah.
want what I got coming to me.
That's right.
that's such a weird line when she says it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like they did like 5 different takes and they glued them all together.
Yeah,
All I
It's
want
just-
is what I have coming to me. All I want is my fair share.
yeah, it's really it's super creepy. And okay, so Tommy, when Lucy says real estate, again, you're 10 years old. Is that funny?
No, that's exactly.
No.
I was just thinking that it's exactly like the snow thing.
Yeah.
It's like it's a grown up thing
Yeah.
to say. So as a kid, I'm not going to get it.
Mm-mm.
But if my parents are laughing behind me, I'll go, oh, totally, yeah, Lucy, you
But
nailed
there
it.
is something sort of shockingly creative about that answer.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's a funny line from a comic strip.
It's a funny line for
It's
a comic strip.
hilarious,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can't. That's what I'm saying. I can't pinpoint the humor in
Mm-hmm.
this stuff, and yet it's lasted 60 years.
Yeah.
With part of it's Vince Guaraldi, and part of it's just like, why the hell do people keep watching this?
But is it because it's got this stuff for, like, mom and dad who like Death of a Salesman, and now they can watch this and be like, oh, real estate, yes, all right. While kids are like, oh, cartoon, hey.
One of the weirdest things about this is that the kids are saying these sort of funny lines, and there are never any jokes that the kids get. Never. The kids don't laugh unless
Yeah.
they're laughing at something.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great
There
point.
are no
That's a great
senses of
point.
humors here ever.
That's a great
It's
point.
kind of weird.
It's true,
There's-
and there's
there's
no
no
there's
joy.
no laugh track,
Yeah.
so all of it just
Yeah.
falls.
Not that I want one.
No, but it lands.
Although, how often do people laugh in
Take
comedies?
a look at Rudolph. Rudolph shows a little joy. That's
I guess he does.
he does.
He's got a different path, though. You're right.
He does have a different path, but you know that there's and Hermie is funny and he's kind and he laughs, with mirth.
He's a
With
delight.
mirth. Just saying.
What?
Oh my
That was amazing with the echo.
That was a good one.
That was incredible.
That was a good one. Wow. And I was just thinking that. So you actually gave me the soundtrack in my head. Lord.
You know what?
what I'm here
That
for.
really felt and feels like Christmas. Hearing that.
Whee!
That was fun.
But then we get Charlie walks by Snoopy's house, and Snoopy is putting up this giant lights display, and Charlie asks, "What's going on here?" Like Charlie's mad. He's like, "What's
Yeah.
going on
Money,
here?"
money.
Yeah. Then Snoopy just hands him the flyer that says there's a contest for the best lights and display.
Okay, so hold up. And what does he do? What is he? I mean, so now you're Charlie Brown. You got the coolest dog that ever lived.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And what you do is you berate him
He's jealous.
for entering
ingenuity.
the contest.
Yeah.
He's jealous.
For his ingenuity, right?
Yeah.
But we're gonna find that Snoopy's intellectual property gets stolen in this episode
Well,
later,
yeah,
Right.
and he does not get credit for it.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
not
also,
only
I mean, like,
his intellectual property and his property.
yeah.
Yeah, his actual property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is like, speaking of like stuff that kids don't get, as a kid, I would not get this, but the parents might be going, how is Charlie Brown? Okay, Charlie Brown's complaining about the commercialism of Christmas. And in a couple minutes, we're going to get like a thing from McDonald's and Peter Paul Cadbury.
Sponsored by Peter Paul Cadbury, maker of Mounds, Almond Joy, York Peppermint Patty, and Cadbury chocolate bars. Indescribably delicious. And by your McDonald's restaurants. You deserve a break today.
We're sitting here watching a thing delivered to us by sponsors, and it doesn't quite hold water, Charlie Brown. Your existence is what you're complaining. Maybe that's his whole problem. Oh my God. He realizes that his existence is the cause of everything that is bothering his existence.
But that's one of the things that's a little bit insidious about this show, Tom, is that we never learn that commercialism is actually bad. Like he never is
Right.
vindicated in that belief.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
they have
think
the
about
cake
it.
and eat too.
If your existence is predicated upon being sponsored by Pillsbury,
Yeah.
And merchandising.
and without Pillsbury, you don't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 5 cents, please, right there. It's true. I was wondering, in 1965, how did Snoopy learn how to skate, but how did he get the hammer with which he puts up all his decorations and that big pile of bones? Remember, Charlie Brown walks by and there's this enormous pile of
he's
bones,
eating them.
and I'm like, and he's
he's not chewing on them. He's just like,
it's one of the
Cheetos.
funniest pictures of Snoopy ever. He's got that yum yum yum.
Yeah.
But
And he's
without
reading like the
Amazon,
Wall Street Journal or something.
yeah. Now, if Amazon existed, it wouldn't be a problem. We know where he got all the stuff,
Right.
but where do you get all the stuff? Did he go down to Ace Hardware?
How does he hold the hammer? Forget getting the hammer. How does he hold it?
I don't know.
Dude ain't got no thumbs.
Is
I
he
don't
is Snoopy a predator? Is that where he gets all the bones?
Oh God.
Oh,
Wow, that's
What-
creepy, Pete.
You're ruining Christmas.
well, I don't know. We had that whole Thanksgiving thing, where he's
Mhm.
no, actually, he does popcorn, doesn't he? He doesn't do. He
Yeah,
doesn't.
they like popcorn and breadsticks.
I
and
thought those
things.
were like dog treat bones.
Maybe.
Like I don't think they're
Oh,
real
you don't-
bones.
made
You
to
don't
look
think they're
like bones.
femurs or
No.
no? All right.
Because he's
By the
eating
way,
them like they're dog treats. He's
I
not
don't-
eating them like
Yeah.
they're beavers.
I don't know why, but that is hysterical.
It is.
It's and
See,
I can't
kinda- with the
explain it.
I don't not like Charlie Brown, but it does bother me. If he could just relax, he lives in a world where everybody just has their own cool, weird thing.
Yeah.
His dog is reading the newspaper and eating bones whole. His other buddy is hunched over a piano playing Beethoven perfectly. As a kid who's like disgusting, but he doesn't care. He's just having a nice time. It's like the town's kind of cool. It's like kind of seems like
No,
an
it's kind of a
interesting
little-
place to be.
It's a utopia almost because you're always just minutes, seconds away from going to the lake to skate or to have fun or to play with your friends or
Mhm.
like everything's fun. There never seems to be anything that's really like a lot of responsibilities. I guess he has to
Yeah.
rake leaves sometimes.
If he would just give up on caring what people thought about him, which everyone else seems to have mastered, he would be fine. He'd be like, I'm gonna, lose my kite in a tree, and it's not gonna bug me. I'm gonna break my back trying to kick the football, and Lucy, you got me again. All right. Like if you just let that stuff roll off his back, he might have a great time.
But see, then you get back to is he suffering from actual mental illness? Like, is it because he's a kid that seems to have everything, but he's depressed?
Well, okay, wait a minute. I gotta do what Linus doesn't do. Stand up for Charlie Brown here. Look, first of all, his problems are twofold. Number one, it's like culture and society is bumming him out because it's the commercialization of Christmas, which is a bit of a strange thing because saying that would include an understanding of what Christmas really is about.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You're like, you
Yeah.
wouldn't need
Yeah.
you wouldn't need
That's good,
Linus to illuminate this at the end. You'd be like, Christmas is commercialized and it shouldn't be, and that would you would be rooted in an understanding of Christmas. So, of the Christmas story or the Christ story, whatever you want to
Mhm.
say. So that's his first problem. His second one is no one likes me. I have
Yeah.
no
Mhm.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, he has a third one too, which is everything I try, I fail at.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
I
That
do
one's
gets
tough.
ruined.
That's
Now,
tough for a kid.
who's picking up the phone to call this guy?
No, if you care about Charlie Brown, though, you want to help him out through that stuff.
But
Because
that's
you can see what he's doing, and you're like, no, you just got to change your way of thinking, man, and you'll be so happy.
But
Like,
how do you know?
lose a baseball
Maybe
game, who cares?
maybe Violet dated him for 2 years.
Oh wow! Just messed up. He thought I'm
And she's
sitting
just
on I got the world on a string. Everything's awesome. I got it all figured out. Everybody loves me.
maybe like, and that whole interaction at the beginning is like, thanks for the and the Christmas
Yeah.
card, Violet. Maybe she's like, look, you've been doing this to me for 24 months.
Well,
He's
maybe
So I
talking
had
about
is
the
that-
card from 2 years ago. that
Yeah.
he
The
still looks at
problem
every
is
day.
that Charlie wanted Shermie, and this is 1965. That
Oh.
would explain a lot of the.
Oh,
that
maybe, yeah.
easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shirley's pretty.
Although one
Shirley's
thing
pretty
that I-
balanced.
Yeah, I
He
think
knows
Shermie's
what's up.
probably the most. Yeah,
He's a li-
but
he's a
one thing I just
little-
realized is every kid in this is like a 50-year-old. Like
Yeah.
every kid
Well,
has
yeah.
both a child trait and
Yeah.
an older adult trait.
and they all suffer from premature alopecia.
Oh yeah.
The
yeah.
boys do anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all seem to suffer from they all seem like they could be somewhere in the DSM-5.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Even I mean,
That's why we love them.
Shermie. We get one line from Shermie, and he's not very content.
No, but he's not like his world isn't ending. He's just mildly annoyed.
Yeah, and he
He's like, "Oh,
doesn't
a
think that
shepherd."
he doesn't ruin everything. He's just like, man, I'm always a shepherd. And maybe it's
Everyone
he's
look
just,
at me. I'm miserable.
Hey, look at me, I'm miserable.
is this where he walks in?
Hey, it's me, Shermie. I'm miserable.
This was it, Chrissy?
I didn't know what to make of that. Sorry. I was just wondering if
Shermie's Brooklyn accent.
yeah, exactly. So this is where he walks in and he kind of tries to take control. And I think he says, "Well,
Mhm.
it's real good to see y'all." Did anybody
Yeah.
else hear y'all?
Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't
Okay,
notice that.
so
didn't
not
either.
Chicago. More
No,
like
maybe not.
Or what if
Maybe his
it's
family moves around a lot. We don't.
Oh,
know.
that might be the problem. Maybe he just moved. He moved here,
Oh.
and everyone's
You-
making
you
fun
know
of him
what?
because he's
No
an
one
What if-
quite knows what to make of this.
what
kid.
if he's a Southerner, and Shermie stands for William Tecumseh Sherman,
Oh my God.
and he's lived his whole life in the South, maybe around Atlanta.
oh goodness.
I
Might
was
ex-
thinking of that. Have you guys have you ever seen the very first Peanuts comic strip? Do you know what it
Yes,
is?
I don't remember. I
No,
don't
is it
remember.
Charlie
It's-
Brown saying this sucks?
It's fantastic. It's two kids. It might be like an early version of Shermie, an early version of that blonde girl with the bow in her hair. Like they're sitting on a corner and Charlie Brown walks by and the guy's like, "Hey, there's Charlie Brown. Good old Charlie Brown. There he goes, Charlie Brown." And as soon as Charlie Brown walks by, the kid goes, "How I hate him."
Oh yeah, I'm just looking at it right now.
I'm like,
yeah.
wow, that's a comic strip.
That
Yeah.
is
Wow,
the
that's
darkest
not
thing.
funny.
So no,
I think it's incredibly fun.
Oh,
It's sad,
okay.
but it's very funny.
well, okay,
I
but
like it.
I
well,
think
is
it's a
it
little bit
funny
of both,
because
yeah.
it's unexpected, or is it funny because like you're like, oh God, yeah, 8-year-olds are awful.
They're like
you know,
5-year-olds.
Yeah,
but it's also like everybody's kind of two-faced. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like it takes these little kids to call it out.
But it kind of sets the stage for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like there's just something about Charlie Brown that some people don't like.
Yeah.
And
These really are
it's not
primitive.
I'm not
people.
defending that. I just it seems to be the philosophy of the comic
Super
strip of the
primitive.
show.
Primitive. That's weird. Thanks for bringing
Yeah,
that up.
the drawings are weird.
Yeah.
Like you've all got that oval, the egg-shaped head. They look like they're on that. What's that show,
1951.
Tom?
Oh, like
Yeah.
Thunderbirds or something?
No, I was
Yikes.
thinking,
Oh.
what's the Stewie Griffin? What's that show?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, Family Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Family Guy.
Oh, it's very odd. Huh. Okay.
But then, like, also odd, Lucy introduces Charlie as the director of the play, and the kids all politely cheer, except for Snoopy, who's just booing him mercilessly.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, I love
But
It is
he
my
did
favorite.
Yeah,
just
that is
he
good.
did just chide him for entering the contest.
that. Yeah.
And Snoopy is just kind of like like in all of these, he's like a level removed from everything that's going on. Like he's
Yeah.
just doing his own thing, and if it means at 1 minute, like cozying up to Charlie Brown and being his pal, and the next minute like kick him in the ass, that's kind of his thing. Like he's just doing
Yeah.
his Snoopy thing, like a
So
Bugs Bunny kind
in the
of mayhem guy.
DSM-5, Snoopy's the personality disorder. Is that right?
I
Maybe
guess
he's
so, yeah.
borderline.
You tell me.
All right. Borderline personality disorder.
I was thinking Snoopy's sort of detached.
Okay.
Like he never feels anything very strongly that comes from
Yeah.
Charlie Brown.
Well, let me
Like
ask you.
everything all over the show is just different defense mechanisms. Like everybody's
It
just
really
got their
is.
thing. They're
Yeah.
just removing
Well, yeah.
themselves from uncomfortable situations
Yeah.
in reality.
What motivates these people?
Putting on the best Christmas
Spite.
play they can. Oh,
And putting on the best Christmas play.
No,
I'm gonna go
they
with
don't want to
spite.
put on the best Christmas
just
play
want
at
to
all.
no, they really don't.
And all they do is fight, and there's tension. And by the way, Charlie Brown doesn't make any friends on this. I mean, Lucy
No.
hands him the
It's
wheel.
lonely at the top.
Yeah.
Maybe that was her setting him up.
Well,
On the other
Charlie
hand,
Brown, deal with
here's
this.
what's
Is he
weird.
wrong? Like maybe the kids need someone to put some order into their lives.
Yeah,
But see, I had that note earlier. Like, is that why he's having a hard time? Because he's trying to bring order to everybody's just kind of own, not chaos exactly, but everybody's just doing their thing, like as
I write that
individuals, and he's trying to wrangle them all in.
I made a note that they all have ADD. They all go rapidly from one thing to
Yeah.
another.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from one emotion to another.
Right.
A lot of lability.
Yeah.
Now, who do you guys resemble most when you're dancing?
that's a no-brainer. I'm Shermie.
Well, everybody's Shermie.
You
honestly.
just want to be Shermie.
Yeah.
I do want to be Shermie, but I mean, I'm sure I like the Running Man, especially if I'm listening to White Zombie.
Sure. Sure. Absolutely.
I might be. Is it Violet who's just kind of like standing still, but she's kind of like rocking her arms back and forth a little bit, doing a little bit of a twist thing? That might be me.
I think Violet's the
sort of
one. She
self-conscious
hangs her
thinking.
head on one side. She turns and hangs her head on the other side.
Oh, is that her? Oh, I thought that was a dude doing that.
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
you
They
look
all look
like
the same
that
to me.
dude, Tommy. I know
Oh,
who
I
you're
do?
talking about. Yeah, the guy
Okay.
who kind of breaks his neck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, that is a guy? I thought that was a girl. I don't know. I'm
Who
picturing
are the
them all
twins?
together.
I didn't remember
Oh, that
twins.
dude.
They're
before we
part of the
watched this.
1951 primitives, I'm pretty sure, because they are not as well drawn at all. They
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
they're from the background bin of characters.
Well, I
They
think
have, like, some
you
colored
do meet
forms.
them in one of those Christmas specials. I'll have a blue Christmas without you, and then they're drawing.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about, right? I'll have a blue Christmas. You're without a Santa
Oh,
Claus.
and that. Wait,
Those
which
are-
one is that? That's Is that the Year Without a Santa Claus?
It is a year without a
Is
Santa
that what you're
Claus. I'll
talking
have a
about?
blue Christmas without you, and then somebody draws
Yeah.
a letter, right? I'm
Yeah.
telling you, those twins show up.
I think you're right. It's kind of totally rudimentary
Yeah.
grade school drawings of people. Yeah.
At Christmas. Yeah.
That's amazing.
See, I don't know who
Wow.
I am, but I want to be. Who's the girl in the green dress? She's doing like a Bruce Lee thing. She's like punching
Oh.
the air.
I think that's the one I'm talking about. That I was talking about. Like I don't know. I think that's Violet, but she's not wearing a purple dress right now. Like when she hears the Charlie Brown's the director, she goes, "Oh, we're doomed." She just like sinks her head in her hands. It's like the most heartfelt line in the entire thing. Oh, we're doomed.
It's what's interesting, if you watch them all dance, like to what you say, Tommy, everybody is just doing their own dance. There are no couples. Everybody's just doing.
Maybe the twins.
No, that's not entirely true. There's a half a couple because Sally's dancing with Linus, even though Linus is oblivious to Sally.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
that's fair.
You're right.
That's sweet.
Wow.
You know what's actually really funny? The irony of this whole thing is Charlie Brown keeps getting furious at them throughout the thing because he's trying to get the play going and they're just goofing off and dancing to Vince Guaraldi. But if now, today, you put a bunch of kids on stage to dance to Vince Guaraldi, that would be a perfect Christmas play. Everybody would love it and say, "Oh, you nailed Christmas. That's so wonderful. Thank you."
Yeah, that's right. Good point.
It's the whole self-perpetuating Charlie Brown thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we have the moment here where Lucy threatens Linus for not learning his lines.
Oh, we kind of skipped over Sally's Santa letter, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, we did.
Oh.
Yeah. How about 10s and 20s?
Yeah, that's right after Charlie gets mad at Snoopy for entering the contest. He gets mad at Sally for asking Santa
even my
for
baby sister.
a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Right.
It's all about money. Sponsored by Pillsbury.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Brought to you by.
Yeah.
It's a great line though. When I think she says, "Please note the size and color of each item and send as many as possible."
Yeah.
And if that seems too complicated, make it easy on yourself. Just send money. How about 10s and 20s?
That's pretty awesome.
So is she thinking of like reselling the stuff Santa gives her? Sell as many bring as many as possible.
I think she just wants lots of stuff. That's how I took it anyway.
Yeah, I did too. Also, 10s and 20s in 1965 is a lot of money.
It's like 50 or 100.
One of each of those.
Yeah.
That was something I never understood about Linus. He goes, to the pumpkin patch, and apparently you have to be as good as you can possibly be and be very sincere because it's your faith and belief that will bring you toys. Nobody has any idea where that information came from. Sally buys right into it. And she's real upset when she doesn't get the toys. And she's like, "What a blockhead I was. What a fool I was. You're a blockhead." And
you owe me restitution.
That's right. She does say that. So she's just carrying it forward. She's actually down several toys, from Halloween, and she's got to make up.
Yeah.
Somebody owes her.
Yeah. That's right. Maybe that's what she meant. Maybe it wasn't
but
white privilege.
But
Maybe
Linus actually, Linus is really interested in the toys. Nobody's bothered by the fact that Linus is just as materialistic. Halloween.
Right. And it's not like Charlie Brown is going to shoo his gifts that he gets the next, on Christmas mornings. I'm like, no.
No, that's right.
I turn my back on all of this.
That's true.
But Linus also
football.
Appropriates Charlie's thing here because Linus, when Lucy threatens him, he says, "Oh boy, not only is Christmas becoming too commercial, it's also becoming dangerous or too violent."
Too dangerous.
Yeah.
But he steals Charlie's, it's becoming too commercial.
Yeah, but is that even like Charlie Brown's thing? Like everybody's been talking, Christmas has been commercial for as long as I've been alive, at least. So it's like not even like a thing. It's like, okay, that's kind of the cool part about Christmas is that you get stuff and it looks pretty and people buy stuff and they put it on their houses and they make it all gorgeous and everything.
That first
you go on
year
trips
with
and it's,
the birth of Jesus was great.
That was nice. That
4
set us
BC
off
was
in the right
killer.
direction, but, yeah.
There was about 3 BC. Pillsbury came out and the whole thing went to pot.
It was right here actually that my version of the show did have a break in it, and there was lots of Pillsbury or whatever, and I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
That's
then
cool.
a very young John Cryer shows up, and he's talking about Christmas and how stressful it can be, and he says, "Ease it, does it. Don't take drugs."
Oh my God!
Wow.
Yeah, and I was kind of like,
Weird.
well, what kind of drugs does he? And he literally says, there's lots of running around and packages to buy and wrap and so forth, but easy does it. Don't take drugs. I don't
Who's
know
got time
what.
for drugs? I'm all stressed out by Christmas.
Well, there's that, but also, what kind of drugs is he warning me against that's going to help me clean my house and wrap my
Right.
presents?
Is it just speed? Just good old speed?
I guess so.
Is that the red ones or the green ones? I don't know. That's weird. What
Little
year is
both.
that from?
I don't know. It looked like early 80s.
Man,
Wow.
sounds like early 80s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's crazy. I love maybe my favorite person. I keep bringing him up, but Pigpen might be my favorite guy in this whole thing. And I
Sure.
quote
Yeah.
him all the time when he says, she's whatever, the girl with the Frida with the curly hair. She's all upset that she has to do a scene with Pigpen, and that he's playing the shepherd or whatever,
Innkeeper.
or he's the innkeeper. He's the
Innkeeper.
innkeeper. And Charlie Brown goes into the whole thing about like, oh, this could have been dust tread on by Nebuchadnezzar or whatever, and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Lovely, by the way, that's a lovely line. I want to come back to that.
I love
It,
it.
yeah, it is. It is. But then Big Ben is so proud of himself. He says, sort of makes you want to treat me with a little more respect, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I say that almost every day, and it doesn't work, but I like saying it.
But it
She
makes
completely ignores him too when he says it.
She does.
Yeah.
so why is he, when confronted with either tension or derision, why is he capable of dealing with it? Why is he
I don't
okay with
know.
it, but Charlie Brown isn't at all?
Everybody is okay with it except for Charlie Brown.
Yeah, which makes him
Yeah, it's
somewhat
true.
not likable.
It's frustrating because I do think he's a good guy, and I like Charlie Brown, and I am on his side, but you do want to shake him a little bit. Just like, come on, just relax and have a nice time. Which doesn't work. If he's actually got a condition, that's not going to work, but it's kind of how you feel.
Well, does Charlie
I
Brown
feel
have
like
a condition?
I don't
Or
know.
does everybody
Well, I don't
else
know.
have
I
a
feel like-
condition? He's the only normal one.
Yeah, that's a good point. I also feel like no adults have ever taught him, and I can sort of sympathize with this, any coping skills.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. They all
If your
have to
best
be
friend
their
is
own
like a
grown-ups.
5-year-old with a blanket.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
They
get a
have
lot
to
of
be
help
their
there.
own grown-ups
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
all the time. They have to worry
It
about
is what the
Christmas
entire-
cards.
That'd be what the whole comic strip was about, if you think about it. Sort of seems like these kind of like just wayward kids with like no,
Yeah.
the adults are
Yeah.
just like faceless, trumpets with little
yeah.
muted
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know that Schultz was all that happy a guy,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
I have to go to Saint.
Yeah,
I should go to
yeah.
Santa Rosa and go through his museum. See what.
Yeah.
The museum's really cool, and they've got
Oh, nice.
next to the museum there's an ice skating rink
Hmm.
where he used to play hockey,
Doodly doodly
which makes
doodly.
me sure that Snoopy played hockey. Yeah, and you could go to the ice skating rink and they have like giant peanuts cutouts all around.
Oh, that's cool. Doodly
I'm just
doodly
picturing
doo.
Christy getting excited about anything. Just go doodly doodly doodly.
Doodly doodly doodly.
Hey
Doodly
Christy, it's a
doodly
snow
doo.
day. You don't have to go to school. Doodly doodly doodly.
Well, it fits a lot of things. It's a
It
pretty good
does.
song. Shows.
Can I tell you one thing I'm excited about? Is this lovely, lovely line that Charlie has when
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
he tries to get Frida to accept Pigpen, and he says, "Maybe you should think of the dust as the soil of some great past civilization, maybe ancient Babylon. You may be carrying soil that was trod upon by Solomon or even Nebuchadnezzar." And I love that, and it's
Yeah.
almost like a little Indiana Jones tie-in.
Oh yes,
But,
it is.
yeah.
Charlie Brown's Feed
But
the
did
Dream.
Charlie? Yeah, there you go.
Well, do you think that that's why he's not liked? Is that he's constantly bringing up this type of stuff, like little factoids?
Yeah,
Or...
he's just pedantic. He's just
But doesn't Linus do
That
that
would be
too?
Linus, yeah.
yeah.
yeah, that's
Linus
true.
gets ignored by everybody though, except for Sally and Charlie and Lucy.
Yeah, why does Linus get
is
ignored but
sorta-
Charlie gets punished?
Maybe because Charlie's like I don't like calling him Charlie, by the way. His name's Charlie.
No, it's really
Charlie
Charlie
Brown.
Brown.
Yeah, we
Lucy
keep
calls
calling
him Charlie at one point. And it's just plain weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's the only one who is like kind of he's not comfortable in himself, and so that draws attention to him somehow. Like he's like, why aren't things cool? Why aren't things going all right? And so people notice that, and it's kind of like,
Would you say there's a parallel to there's another podcast you're on where it is often said that you have a very punchable face.
Yes. If you're like with a couple of people and you've got that's the opposite though, because I got a really positive attitude on that show. I got these two grumpy Gus's dealing with me, and it almost serves a purpose because they, Mike DeMaria is just like, it's just, your face is just so easy on the knuckles. It'd just be so great to just leap across the table, just punch you in the face. He's so nice. I accept it. But yeah, it is a lot like that.
Do you think Charlie grew up to be an archaeologist?
Oh, maybe.
I think he died young.
Snoopy, my God.
Actually, you do kind of have to wonder though. Does he have cancer or something?
No.
Well,
like why does he not have hair?
He's got a little
He's
bit.
got hair.
He's got that one little curl.
He's got one tuft of hair on the front of his head. Yeah.
He kind of, you know what? He reminds me, Chris, or you'll get this. He reminds me of an uncle that we had who kind of would show up and, was either always talking about the past. He was a bit of a mope a lot. And when you're around this uncle of ours,
I gotcha.
Yeah, he'd make you feel like, he was I don't know, he was a bum out. He was a bit of an interloper, even though we're related to him.
Yeah.
He just, you know what I mean? He'd come in and all of a sudden, like, everything would just there'd be like a key change.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Not always, but enough. Yeah.
Enough. Not always. Not always. A little bit like Charlie Brown. Not always, but there was always there was like a pall of dissatisfaction. Yeah, and I wonder, it's not the type of dude that you want to call up and say, hey, can you run our pageant, or you know what, let me send you a Christmas card.
But see, here's the thing: that same attitude can be amazingly endearing, because I would perhaps categorize one of my beloved co-hosts as sort of a grouchy curmudgeon. And that's something that's quite endearing about him.
I see.
Actually, I might describe both of them.
Yeah,
like that.
Exactly. I'm totally sure which one you mean. Yeah. Either way.
Diddly, diddly, diddly.
Diddly, diddly, dee.
What?
That's a good one.
Is Schroeder the coolest guy on the show?
Yeah.
Schroeder
Shermie.
is, except
Shermie's cool.
Schroeder Schroeder is great, except he gets really weird every once in a while. It's like I'm expecting him to pull out a gun.
Yeah, it's scary. Like when he gets angry.
When he gets angry, you expect him. You're like, if there was, which one of these kids was going to shoot up the town? It's Schroeder.
Yeah. He is a little tightly wound.
I don't know.
Yeah, a little tightly wound.
Yeah.
I think if you just let him disappear into his music, he's just fine.
Yeah, if you don't
bother
him, if you don't say something that disturbs him, he won't kill you.
If you don't start dancing on his piano or talking to him about bubblegum cards.
I don't understand the dancing on the piano thing. Like, I don't understand why Snoopy gets embarrassed.
Yeah, or why they both get mad at him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lucy's trying to flirt with Schroeder and he's ignoring her, and then Snoopy starts dancing on the piano and they both get pissed at him. And
but I feel like
away.
Schroeder should appreciate that because Snoopy's carried away by the music.
Yeah.
Well,
if he
and
were
also
a busker or something, he would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes. But he never gets embarrassed about other things, when people get annoyed with him or whatever. In fact, nobody gets embarrassed, really.
No.
But Snoopy does.
Yeah.
Tommy's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody does get embarrassed at all. Maybe that's the problem with the town. We need a little bit of shame around. Is Schroeder the only one who breaks the fourth wall? Like what?
No, Shermie does.
And Charlie
Shermie
Brown.
does.
Charlie Brown does all the time.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Well, I feel I feel like, I don't know if he thinks that he's talking to us.
Yeah, there's a fine line between sort of mugging towards the camera and actually like addressing the audience, I guess. It's like when 3PO, when 3PO turns to the camera and goes like, "Oh, typical." when he gets locked out of the thing, and
Right.
like they brought that up on the Star Wars. I don't know. That never occurred to me that he was looking at me and saying, "Oh,
No.
typical." I thought he was just like turned in that direction where the camera
Yeah.
happens to sort of.
He
be,
wasn't talking
and
to
he
you,
said, "Oh,
Tom.
typical." I
He's
didn't
not
think
your
so.
best
Okay.
friend. He's not.
Aw.
Wait a minute. He says how typical.
Well, whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
What did I say?
Oh, typical.
Oh my goodness! I'll turn in my nerd badge.
It's a complete Pete move there. So yeah, and Chuck or Charlie Brown and Linus go to buy a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And Lucy tells them they should get a big pink aluminum Christmas tree to set the mood.
Right.
Right. Which I didn't
Big
know
fake
in
commercial thing.
1965. Did they have big pink aluminum Christmas trees?
See,
Absolutely.
I think
I think so. Yeah.
I
think they may, but I think it was more like everything's changed, like space age. Everything's changing so fast. Like everyone's gonna be into like robots and Jetsons.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
when
So you're saying there really were, Christy?
Oh, I would guess. I don't think they
I
make
would
up stuff.
too. Yeah. People were into that kind of chintzy, aggressively beautiful garbage. Like that, just like super fake, hard, clangy, weird stuff.
No, we always had a fake Christmas tree growing up, but it was plastic. Maybe we just didn't have the fancy one. Mid-century Christmas trees, pink aluminum.
See?
Well, Charlie Brown thinks that he knows the answer, like how to solve this Christmas void, and it's with getting the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So why does that thought alight?
I guess he's
Alight
trying to
with
think
whom?
about stuff that is really nice about Christmas, that he likes about Christmas, that would, be sort of comforting. I
So
don't
is
know,
it
just sort of
is it
familiar
sort
and
of
good
like
and
this
true Christmas.
talismanic thing, or the ritual of going through it, and then when he
Yeah.
dresses it up, he fails at that? And is that because it's like, no, it's Christmas actually isn't about the tree either?
See, I think he's trying to save himself because he picks the Charlie Brown tree and he like cradles it and he's like, I'm gonna save this poor child, and he can't. He
Okay,
finds
so
he's not able to.
So that supports the idea that there aren't any other people in this story besides Charlie Brown. This is
It
just
does.
He's even the
him.
tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
By
he
the way, I
fails at
love
that.
Yeah, he fails at that.
He
And
feels with
personally,
that.
I love Charlie. Amy always wants to get a giant Christmas tree, and I always want to get the Charlie Browniest of Christmas trees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had Charlie Brownish Christmas trees before, and they're nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, he brings it back, and everybody rips on him. They think he's a complete fool for getting that
That's
tree.
the darkest moment of the whole season.
It is.
The whole season. And they really lean into it. It's like, it doesn't.
They
what
laugh
the-
and he just walks away.
Yeah.
Even his
Yeah.
dog.
And then,
Yeah.
ha 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 ha
Yeah.
ha ha ha.
Open-throated, head back,
Yes.
fingers pointing.
And they
Yeah.
say, like, he's so stupid he can't tell a good tree from a poor tree.
Mhm.
Oh, and one of them yells out, "Your face looks like a rabbit."
What?
It just gets like mean
A
and
t-shirt that says
bizarre.
that.
It doesn't get like, "Oh, come on,
Yeah.
Charlie Brown. We were hoping you could do better." It's
That's
not
not
that.
the tree we were looking for, Charles. Could you
Yeah.
please try again?
It's like your face looks like squirrel balls. They just get really bad.
I mean, that would be nice if they said that compared to the stuff they say. They're just
It's
so
true.
mean.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
just like they're just like these declarative statements. You're
stupid. You're
s-
hopeless. You're dumb.
hopeless.
Mhm.
At least give us your organs.
Yeah.
Let us harvest you for parts.
Yikes.
Well, no, because that wouldn't even work. Because the one kid says, "You're not the kind of person you're not the kind of kid you could depend on to do anything right."
Oh,
God.
jeez.
Even your spleen blows.
Yeah.
You call this a spleen, Charlie Brown?
I'm sure that's the title of one of the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He called us a spleen, Charlie Brown. Oh, how I hate him.
Oh, how I hate him. That's right.
My gosh.
And his
That's a
spleen.
Christmas hymn, isn't it? Oh, how I
No,
hate him.
it's not.
By Charlie Brown.
No.
But then Charlie loses it. It's just him and Linus, and he's with his depressed tree, and he's like, "Isn't there anyone who can tell me what Christmas is really all about?" And then Linus gives this is this King James? Do we know which version of the Bible this is from?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
I assume it is.
Yeah. But then it's funny because Linus doesn't really speak to Charlie. Like you said earlier, Jerry, he's playing a role and he's reciting lines that he's just memorized. And he's sort of, I don't know. I'm not buying it.
Okay, what part are you not buying? The fact, like, is this just, I mean, pardon the pun, but just pageantry?
I feel like this is what you do when you're too lazy to help your friend.
Like this, you recite the Bible.
Oh,
the Bible. But he's just like, I'm just gonna say something that I read somewhere. I'm not actually gonna address it. Yeah, I'm not gonna say how this applies to you specifically or what might actually help you. I'm just
gonna recite.
That's what's weird because
Chronicles.
he does this big, long, beautiful thing, and then it has an effect on Charlie Brown, but I don't quite get what it is. Like, he's
I'm not
like,
sure what the
I got
effect
it.
is.
Thank
No.
you.
Yeah,
Linus.
he smiles and walks away with his tree, and everyone just silently watches him.
Yeah.
But now
It's
Like, there
really
wasn't
creepy.
anything in that Bible passage about trees. Charlie
Here's
Brown.
what's
I don't know
interesting.
What your epiphany is.
When you look at this, you look at that scene. First of all, why do they follow Charlie Brown out and not Linus? Like
They follow the
Linus
tree.
just
Yeah.
They follow.
they
Yeah.
follow the tree out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Okay, so I looked at it closely, and Charlie Brown leaves with the tree, right? Wood, right? And if you look, there's 12 kids like the apostles.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And Charlie
I don't get
Brown
it.
is leaving. He's exiting, and there's 12 kids. And when they all come out, walking, there's actually only 11.
What?
And I was like,
Oh.
Judas. There's a
Yeah,
Judas
which
in
one was
there.
Judas?
I
Which one was
didn't look.
Judas?
I think it might have been
Probably Snoopy.
Shermy.
Was that? No, it must have been that kid without a name in the yellow shirt who was doing the dancing out front.
Oh, yeah.
It may have
Oh,
been.
yeah.
From the
I
other-
watched
he's
it
a
like
Shelbyville guy.
Yeah. He's like, or he's with you, Pete. He's like, I don't buy this Linus nonsense.
Yeah, whatever. I'm going home.
Yeah.
Oh, I never noticed that, Jer. So okay, 11. We got a Judas amongst us. All right.
But then
Man.
Charlie takes his tree and goes and he steals one of Snoopy's decorations and he puts it on his own tree. And it made me wonder, and he says, I'll show them who I could pick a good tree. And it made me wonder, is the Charlie Brown Christmas special actually a revenge play?
What?
I'll get them.
Yeah,
I'll show them.
And their
He
little
put a
dog
bunch
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll rue the day they messed with Charlie
He
Brown.
puts a bunch of C4 explosive in the ornament.
But it's sad because Snoopy, you see that Snoopy won first place for his decorations.
Right.
Yeah.
And he gets zero acknowledgement from any of the kids.
Yeah.
Other than
and
they
it's only
steal
seen
his
as like a
decorations.
problem from Charlie
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah, Charlie's not. Yeah, he's not proud of it at all. But he
No.
he
Well,
does
no,
steal
I-
some of it.
That never bothered me because Snoopy wasn't doing it for anybody but himself.
That's true.
He
just wanted the
got
cold hard
public.
cash.
Cold hard cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, money.
10s and 20s.
10s and 20s.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's actually exactly where Charlie Brown gets really, really well defended. He defends himself. He's like, now it's in the shadow of this Snoopy doghouse thing, which was commercialized and so forth. And it reverses and so forth. So he's not going to let the commercial dog ruin his Christmas, right? So he all of a sudden gets this armor on, and he finds everything that he was supposed to find that he couldn't have developed until just this moment. It does feel a little abrupt.
Wait, what did he
I gotta
find? Because
tell
he
you.
says, "I killed it. I've killed it."
Oh no, I'm sorry. I moved ahead a moment.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
yeah,
But it is a
gets
little abrupt.
Yeah. It gets really
Yeah.
it gets really dark. He puts the one ornament on top, and the whole thing falls over and lands in the ground.
Everything I touch gets ruined.
Yeah, now you really got to sit there for a minute. Everything I touch gets ruined. You're like this like horrible cursed King Midas vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What's
really upsetting about it is that as soon as he's gone, the ease with which Linus makes that tree perfectly, at least just even before all the kids descend on it and put stuff on it, he just gets it to stand up straight incredibly easily, and it makes it look like maybe Charlie Brown is cursed and everything he does does get ruined.
Well, there
is something about him that can't make the tree stand up.
There's also Linus being, as Jerry said earlier, completely mealy-mouthed and taking the credit for the tree.
Right.
And then, like, immediately fixing something that he could have fixed at the outset instead of waiting for every single kid to call Charlie stupid and dumb.
That's right. That's right.
But
although, I mean, maybe this is like, this is the tree is at its lowest point now, like literally. Like it didn't have a bauble weighing it down before, and now it's a crisis moment where he has to step in and do something.
I think that's the difference between Snoopy and Chuck, is that Charlie Brown has zero confidence, and Snoopy is so just like serenely confident that he doesn't care if anyone acknowledges that he won. Like they steal all of his decorations, and he's not there when they're stealing them, but then he just kind of shows up and sings with them anyways. Like, oh, okay, no problem.
I already won. I'm moving on to the singing.
It's part. Like he doesn't need validation because he knows he's that good.
But is
Chuck doesn't know.
Is the lesson learned here with Linus and Charlie Brown and the tree that it's a little bit like a Yoda thing, like do or do not, there is no try. It's like, is it Charlie Brown's bad attitude that makes the tree collapse in front of everybody, and it's Linus's positivity that he just puts the
he's kind of a real thing in a lot of ways. Like if you think you're going to screw something up, you're probably going to screw it up.
That's true.
Like if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to do a good job.
Or
I think that's putting a lot on the tree.
The tree is, well, so then what about is Linus? What if Linus is like the chosen one?
What?
I mean, he's the one who steps on stage and he, riffs on the New Testament. Yeah, he gets the aura, and then he comes over and he can fix the tree.
I think it was just a very fixable tree, but Charlie Brown's just a clown. Couldn't do it. Everything he touches gets ruined. Well, what really upsets me, not darkest, but like the most annoying part of this whole thing, and I love this thing. I love this entire show, and I love Charlie Brown. I love Peanuts.
I know what you're gonna say. I know
they got the tree. And all the kids descend on it, and they put all the chintzy, Snoopy decorations onto the little cute tiny tree, heartfelt tree, and it's exactly like Ali Sheedy in The Breakfast Club, where she's already this beautiful, awesome, weird girl, and then somehow like she's not beautiful until they make her beautiful by putting makeup on her, making her look just like Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
So it's like now they accept it as a beautiful tree because they turned it into exactly the kind of crummy quote unquote. It's a cheap whore of a Christmas tree. Exactly.
And not only that,
we're supposed to love that now.
Here's the darkest part of all. What does it look like? It looks like the most commercial Christmas tree.
It does.
Yeah, exactly.
You've ever
seen. They turn Charlie Brown's effort to get away from that kind of Christmas tree into that kind of Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And that's the miracle of Christmas, and that's what's beautiful and what we all gather around and sing around.
But my question is the lowest part for Charlie at the very end, because in the end he's basically a sucker.
What?
Because nobody's done anything nice for him. They've just taken what he was afraid of and turned it into reality and taken credit for it, and then he's just like, all right, I'll just go along.
The last line before the triumph of everybody singing is, Charlie Brown is a blockhead, but he did get a nice tree.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of upsetting.
And then what do? Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown, as they all teabag him.
But like,
if you
struggle at something, and if you're struggling with something and you're having a hard time, and maybe you're trying to create something and you can't make it work and you're frustrated and you walk away, and then every single person shows up and like easily makes it work, and then they're like, Merry Christmas, Pete. I'm probably not going to feel great about that.
No.
Merry Christmas,
that Merry Christmas is going to feel like a taunt.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
don't do anything to help. I mean, I guess, are we supposed to walk away with this idea that at Charlie Brown's most vulnerable moment where his tree collapses in front of him, they stole Snoopy's decorations, and then they made Charlie Brown's tree beautiful, and then they wished him a Merry Christmas? Is it like at the very
Yes.
end, they all
Yes.
came together to make him feel good about the tree that he
Yeah.
bought?
Yes.
Yeah.
They came together around
That's the
Charlie Brown. They
surface
did
level
something to make him feel
That's
better.
like the most generous thing they can do?
Steal from a dog?
They're all they're all wounded, Jer. They're wounded creatures.
They are. They're clinging to any little brightness they can.
And if they don't exist, it's from this sick mind that
I love that idea.
Charlie
I love
Brown
that idea,
has.
Christy.
This is all I could come up with. I'm telling you.
Poor blockhead.
In your idea, I feel like Charlie is probably not a kid though. He's like a 55-year-old man.
Well,
Yeah.
He's sitting in an
Strapped to a bed
armchair
somewhere.
Yeah.
the shoe
Bellevue.
fits, you know.
Yeah.
My favorite from when the kids are singing is that Pigpen actually gives a shower of dust when he breathes. I
Yes,
never noticed
impressed.
that before.
Yeah,
You know.
that's incredible.
Yeah, he's actually clean for a couple of beats in the middle there, and then he breathes and he's dirty
Yeah.
again. Pretty good.
Like 2 clean
It
frames
comes
for
from
each breath.
comes from his lungs.
Yeah, he's been working in the coal mine for
Yeah,
so
he's like
long.
a coal miner.
Yeah, little black
Takes
lung.
place in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Sitting there
Oh my
operating
gosh.
the Widowmaker. Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. Loo, loo, loo.
Oh, you're upsetting my dog. Oh dear. Doodly doodly doodly.